The following program is a collection of hooligans engaging in lively conversations about anything and everything that happens to populate in their heads. It is meant to be comedic entertainment. The opinions expressed on the show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of the hosts, their peers, AIM Student Radio, or the Communication Media Department. P.S. Don't sue us and don't believe anything we say. Good morning, or afternoon, I should say now. It is not the morning. I am so sorry, folks. Welcome to the Dumpster Fire 4.2, part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh, joined here by Kion.
Hello, I'm Kion.
On this lovely Monday. I can't recall the last time that we did a Monday show. I don't know if we ever did a Monday show for any of the other incarnations of the show.
Just because you just woke up doesn't mean it's the morning,
I've
Josh.
been up for a while, buddy.
Are you sure?
I mean, okay, maybe I might have been sleeping a little, but that's beside the point, and that is a whole other
Just because
story.
you take a nap at 10 does not make it the morning.
Yeah, I mean, could have been taking a nap at 10 in places, but that's not the point here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi.
But hi, we are here. We are back. It is very muggy outside now.
I think it's getting me warmed up for being in England.
Yeah, it's a practice run for you,
right.
Kion. That's what it is.
And as I have said to people who know that I will be moving, I don't mind the humidity. It does wonders for the hair, but the problem is when it's hot and humid, it's when you start sweating and it's hot and humid, you don't properly cool down right.
Yep.
So this is my reminder to everybody that because it's more humid, you should probably drink more water. Just because you don't feel like you're losing water, it doesn't mean you're not. So.
Oh yeah. No, I mean that's why I'm trying to rehydrate right now, because just a little bit I was outside. I'm like, oh man.
Yep.
Like I'm drying out here.
But this is the Ames radio reminder to not die of dehydration.
Yes, stay hydrated. Even though it's cloudy outside, the UV rays are still very, very intense. Please wear sunscreen.
Yeah.
Especially for those of you who don't have hair to protect the top of your heads, a.k.a. Josh.
Yes, Josh, just because you lost your hair doesn't mean you should lose your scalp.
Yeah, no, I don't really want to lose that. But speaking of your weather, let's go ahead and get a quick check here for you folks. And I'm getting an ad for a Sprite remix, which is at
That's
Wendy's.
Not the weather.
That's not the weather.
It's not Sprite outside.
No, and remember, it's always McDonald's Sprite for the win.
True.
Which I've consumed quite a bit of over the last couple of days. Because wouldn't you know, when you're out and it's late at night and you realize there's not a lot of food places open. But so McDonald's is open.
That's so true.
And I tell you, a double quarter pounder with cheese and an ice cold large McDonald's Sprite at 1 a.m.
I have
chef's kiss.
I've not been going to McDonald's as much due to reasons, but I do miss that high school era of we're gonna go walk to McDonald's and get chicken nuggets and get McDonald's
and get a
Sprite.
hot and spicy.
Oh yeah,
always got to get the hot and spicy. But anyways, back to your weather. Currently, it is in Fort Lupton. It is 79 degrees with a high of 86, a low of 56. Partly cloudy skies, wind gusts of up to 4 miles per hour. So keep that in mind. It is cooler than it was last week when we did the show, but with the humidity, it doesn't feel that way.
No.
In Loveland, it is currently 82 with a high of 82, a low of 58. Sunny skies, wind gusts of up to 5 miles per hour. Currently in Windsor, it is 82 degrees with a high of 83, a low of 57, sunny skies, wind gusts of up to 2 miles per hour. And currently on the home campus of Greeley, it is 81 degrees with a high of 85, a low of 58, sunny skies, wind gusts of up to 4 miles per hour.
It's weather.
It is very much weather. We're going to have quite a bit here on the show for you today. Keep in mind, a lot of this can be potentially made up as we go along, but one of the big ones... Yes, but one of the big ones that we are going to be talking about, it is actually a subject that has actually been mentioned on this show previously, and their latest round of exploits as of late, we'll just say. But in the meantime, we'll let it get back to the music here on AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. Up next, we got Monster from Paramore. Enjoy. And welcome back to the Dumpster Fire 4.2, part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh, here with Kion.
I'm here.
Kion is very much here. We are still here on this lovely Monday. It's going to take me a second to get used to saying that. But we did want to tease, coming up later on the show, we are going to have somebody else with us. They haven't joined us officially on the Dumpster Fire yet, so this is going to be amazing.
Yes, we have a special appearance on the way.
We do have a special appearance on the way. It's going to be fun. It is going to be exciting. And... did you, by chance, watch any of the Xbox presentation yesterday of their upcoming games?
No, I did not, because I forgot it was happening.
Okay. Case in point, Xbox, they're kind of swinging for the fences again, but we'll see, because this is a trend with Xbox where they announce these huge games.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, this is going to be amazing, and then they come out and they're a little bit of a dud. Starfield.
Gotcha.
But they announced, because of all the companies that they own, we are getting another Doom game. It's supposed to be like a prequel. It's called Doom the Dark Age. It's supposed to be like a medieval-themed Doom almost.
Fun.
We are finally getting another Gears of War game, also a prequel to the main series. It's supposed to be about 15 years before the events of the first game. That looks insane.
That everyone likes making prequels, because by the end of the games that they've done, like, everyone has like died, and so they have to go before the events in order to have content.
Yeah, which I was kind of surprised, because technically the way that Gears 5 ended, they could have gone forward with the story, but
they might be leaving it open so that they can revisit it later.
Possibly, but everyone was thinking, oh, it's going to be Gear 6, but it looks like it is actually going to be a prequel 15 years before the before the original game, so that should be fun. We finally got footage of the Perfect Dark. Keep in mind, for those of you that don't know, Perfect Dark was a game made by Rare originally on the N64. It was one of the last big games. It was made by Rare, the company that did GoldenEye, and many of the gameplay mechanics are very similar to GoldenEye. It was considered a spiritual successor to GoldenEye, because originally Rare wanted to make a game for the next James Bond movie after GoldenEye, which was Tomorrow Never Dies. But then I believe it was EA that actually got the license for the James Bond games, so they were kind of out of luck, but they made Perfect Dark instead, and that one ended up being really good. However, a lot of people forgot that the game even existed, because it came out right at the very, very, very end of the Nintendo 64's life cycle.
Right.
And it didn't actually sell that many copies, just kind of like Conker's Bad Fur Day. Same thing happened. It came out right at the tail end of the N64's life cycle, so a lot of people didn't know. I was just
chuckling at the use of life cycle. It makes me think of like a butterfly, or like those, like the...
Yeah, no, I'm thinking about it now too.
Or like that like classic, like the life cycle of a water drop,
Yeah.
It's just making me think of those like elementary school posters.
Oh,
is why I chuckled. But so now I'm just imagining like the Nintendo 64, and it's like evolving into like the
Yeah, but we finally got gameplay of that, because we had heard that this game had been in this remake had been in development hell for the longest time. It had shifted studios, allegedly that it was canceled, and then oh no, it's not actually canceled. But we actually got some gameplay of it, and it's like, okay, this looks pretty impressive. We'll We'll see what happens there. And then the big daddy of them all, they even had their own direct because it was an Xbox direct, and then because Xbox owns Activision, they did a Call of Duty direct immediately after. And that was really the thing that everybody was waiting for.
Yeah.
We finally got a reveal of what the next game is going to be. We know it was going to be Black Ops 6. Holy moly, I can't believe they're on the 6th game of this series, but it looks promising because they are bringing back more of the old, I say old school, but wow, the classic Call of Duty kind of style. So the original Prestige system, where you got up to level 50, you Prestige, and then you started over again, and then you just kept leveling up more and more.
Gotcha.
They're bringing that back, which honestly I'm excited about because that was that was my favorite thing to do as a kid, playing the first Black Ops online. And then we also have round-based zombies, which is like the original games would do it, where you just kept going round after round. They're bringing that back as well. They're bringing it back some of the original they call them 3-lane online maps for the multiplayer, which made them really fast and frenetic, especially those original few Black Ops games. So they are really going back to basics with at least the multiplayer aspect. The campaign itself actually looks really, really interesting. They're doing like this 90s CIA thriller. Basically, that there was a whole secret war going on in the 90s that no one
kind
really
of doing
knew.
like the Cold War-esque.
Like they did a dedicated Cold War game the last time because that was Black Ops Cold War, but this is going to be more in like the early 90s going into possibly the early 2000s.
Okay.
And one of the rumors did get debunked, I would say thankfully, because one of the original rumors was that there was supposed to be a mission revolving around a certain date in September, which turned out to not be true because there's no way they could do that. Yeah, no, that would have been very, very bad.
It's still too soon. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's been 23 years, but that's still kind of one of those like, let's not. That's kind of one of like, let's not touch that one, even if it is like in the context of a video game. It's still one of those.
I feel like
no.
even that's probably. You don't want to mess with it.
Yeah.
But you were saying that it's kind of more like 90s-esque. I haven't seen this trailer yet.
Okay.
Are they doing like very like what's the word? Like realistic graphics still?
So
or are they
is
gonna
the
go
realistic
for more
graphics.
stylized?
What I mean by 90s-esque is that the timeline of the game takes place in the 90s. So you had like the Gulf War, the Clinton administration,
Gotcha.
Margaret, because in the trailer they show different or actors portraying different global leaders at that time. So in the trailer you see Bill Clinton, you see George Bush Sr., you see Margaret Thatcher, you see Saddam Hussein. So it is kind of they are kind of going more
like
in
they're
that
going to be
timeline.
getting a lot of mixed reviews for doing somewhat more recent stuff. But
I mean, the thing is, like, the Gulf War, we're talking about 30 years.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, it was still very controversial when Margaret Thatcher died. And people were talking about, like, she wasn't all that great of a human being. And it was,
Yeah, no, it is definitely, I think this time they are aiming for something a little bit more, I guess you could say closer to the chest, a little bit more kind of based in reality. So like the original Modern Warfare trilogy was more like just giant action movies.
Yeah.
Whereas when they did the rebooted trilogy, they also kind of went more like real life because there are certain missions in the game that were inspired by actual events that happened. Like the first level in Modern Warfare 2 revolves around tracking down a general, like basically covertly, and then as he gets to an airport, kind of making him go boom, which was very reminiscent of something that happened in the last presidential administration. So they took a lot of inspiration from real life events.
But now it's like directly.
Yeah, no, here they're like directly or making a story that ties things in. So I'm intrigued. It's definitely gonna stir the pot a little bit, but I think that's what they're going for.
Interesting. Well, I look forward to hearing about it. I don't know if I'll actually get the game or not.
So
but...
that's the other thing. The big one, which means that the servers are going to be garbage on day one. It's going to be on Xbox Game Pass day one on PC and console. Which I mean, great, because that means I don't have to spend $70 to find out if the game is good or not.
Yeah.
But if you're going to play online, you're not going to play online day one. Those servers are going to be dead.
Week one, really.
Week one, maybe. I mean, they usually get a lot of servers up anyways because Call of Duty's just such a massive franchise. But now that it's going to be on Game Pass, there's going to be so many people that are going to sign up for like the 1 month free trial of Game Pass, or they'll just pay for a month just to try the game out.
Right.
So it's if you're wanting to play online on day one, may the odds be ever in your favor. I will not be one of them. I'll do the campaign, but I'm not judging online on day one.
Well, cool.
And we will, actually, it's getting kind of close to the top of the hour, so we will let it get back to the music here on the 90s hour here on AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. Up next, we got Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. Enjoy. And welcome back to the Dumpster Fire 4.2, part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh, here with Kion.
I am Kion.
Yes.
Still.
We are Kion. Kion is here.
No, we are not Kion. I'm Kion.
We are Venom.
No. They're announcing a new Venom movie.
Yes, they did show a trailer, and that looks just utterly bonkers.
I think I saw the first one, but it's a blurry memory, so...
I watched... So the first one I didn't watch in theaters.
I definitely didn't see it in theaters.
When COVID hit... it was really cheap on like Google Play, and that's how I bought it and I watched it. But the second one, my friends and I did actually go watch that one in theaters, and that was definitely a fun ride. I kind of wish it would have been rated R because it was Carnage. Yeah, and trying to do a PG-13 Carnage is kind of weird.
Yeah, Carnage is. Well, his name is Carnage for starters.
Like,
and it's kind of like his
Cletus
whole
Cassidy is literally a serial killer.
His whole thing is literally, just. He enjoys violence for violence sake, you know? He is very much that, like, he reminds me of the song AC/DC, the Shoot to Thrill.
Yeah.
But the fact that they made it PG-13 feels very disingenuous. Mm-hmm. It feels kind of like if they tried to do Deadpool as PG-13.
Yeah. I mean, so they did do the PG-13 version of Deadpool 2, but that was a joke. Like, that was clearly the joke to kind of be like, this doesn't work as a PG-13.
Right. It was also kind of like they did it after the fact because so many people tried to bring their kids to it that they were like, hey, this is the version that you could theoretically show to a kid to be like, hey, maybe don't show kids this rated R movie. Yeah. It was kind of made in response to... But it wasn't the intention, like you say.
Yeah, no, it was more like to be like, see, this doesn't work.
Right. But I think this next one feels a little bit more like they're trying to go with, like, not so much the full relationship between Eddie and Venom, but it was more like just like the dynamic between them. Yeah. So a little kind of leaning into that Jekyll and Hyde. Yeah. So, which I am very hyped about.
Oh, for sure. So. It'll be fun, at least. And then, at least on the Deadpool side of things, it looks like Deadpool and Wolverine from the trailers that we've gotten, that they are very much... And Ryan Reynolds has even said that he was surprised that Disney let him go as R-rated as they're going to go.
I feel like Disney knows,
Yeah, I think Disney's just kind of like, they're not going to give that kind of freedom to anyone else,
right? But
they'll give Ryan Reynolds that freedom.
I also feel like they specifically are aware that it's a rated R franchise.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like, okay, this is how this film needs to be in order for it to do well.
Yes.
Like, they're aware that the viewer expectation is violent and gory and swearing.
Yeah, and swearing and very out-of-pocket things being said.
And so I feel like as producers and directors, Disney was aware of that going into Wolverine and Deadpool, and we're probably like, okay, we just need to let him
let him do his thing.
We need to let them do what it...
Did you see the popcorn bucket?
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness. So Ryan Reynolds saw the whole discourse about the Dune popcorn bucket.
No.
And he's like, I'm going to take it one step further.
And
no. He very, very much did. And I want the bucket just purely.
Just for the joke.
Just to have it like as a collector's item. Like, I don't want to actually like use it to fill up popcorn, as absurd as that sounds. Like, I literally just want to like put it like on
just
the top
on
of my shelf.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, and so the fact that you say that makes me very scared.
Like, they even did a whole video.
I know what you're talking about with the Dune one, so the fact that I haven't seen this one is concerning.
No, it is, like, Ryan Reynolds saw it, and actually it was funny because, like, I think it was a day or two after they revealed the Dune popcorn bucket that Ryan Reynolds is like, wait till you see ours.
Oh, no.
Because, of course, you know he's going to do that. Like, good Lord.
What other movies are announced right now?
Like right now, Deadpool and Wolverine's the biggest one I'm waiting for. I mean, the one that I was waiting for before that was Furiosa, and that one came out and I already watched it, and that was amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I heard a rumor that they might be doing a second Moana, but I don't know if that's true.
There is a second Moana. It's they actually did the trailer for it. We're finally getting it. I think it's later this year. Yeah, it is later this year.
Interesting.
So we are getting that, and then on top of that, we are still getting the live. They haven't done a trailer yet for it, but we are going to get a live action adaptation of the first Moana.
Huh?
Because a certain big name actor has his fingerprints all over it.
Which one?
You just a certain Samoan actor.
So
who
the
plays?
Rock.
Yeah, it's the
Rock.
Rock.
Okay.
It is the Rock.
So I don't love the whole live action thing. I feel like that's pretty well established, but it feels even less disingenuous.
Yeah.
To do such a recent movie, Yeah,
I mean, like, I get like doing the live action versions of like the 90s Disney movies. Like, okay, that makes sense. But Moana's like, I don't even think it's a decade old yet.
It's not. I think it was only.
Because I think it was
I think it was post Hamilton, because they got Lin to do the soundtrack.
Yeah.
So I think that would have had to be like.
Actually, I'm gonna look
17
up the
or
date.
18, right?
Yeah, because I want to say 2016.
Okay, so right after.
So
Hamilton.
yeah, like less than a decade, and they already said they're gonna do a live action version.
Huh. It's like, and like I could sort of see it for maybe like Princess and the Frog, because like
Princess and the Frog, that was more like early 2000s, 2010s.
I still am not a fan of the whole live action thing, but even something like that I could kind of see, because it's still that classic 2D animation. It was their last really big 2D animation one, so that would make more sense. But the fact that they're doing like one that's already in 3D feels really weird, because it's basically like you already have the range of emotion that you can get from 3D. Why do you need to make it live action? What is the appeal? Oh
yeah, no, for sure. Like the big thing with the I think it is maybe a little too soon to do the live action Moana. Plus, it feels like we are going to get a flood of The Rock doing a bunch of movies again.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, we had this very brief run where he went back to wrestle.
Is he going to be playing Maui? That I don't feel like that's going to work as well. Because the character design for Maui is not The Rock. He's voiced by The Rock, but he's not. He's designed in such a way that he works very well for the whole shapeshifter premise.
Yeah, so I don't know how they'll do that in the movie.
I don't think that's going to go well. I think it's going to be like when Will Smith did Genie again.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like, I don't really know what the whole plan is there, but we are going to get basically a flood of Rock movies again. Because we are getting the Moana movies.
Yeah.
And then he is also doing another movie with A24 that he's playing like basically an OG MMA fighter, and he actually looks pretty unrecognizable. Like, they put a lot of makeup and prosthetics on him. Like, you actually have to look at his face and
like,
actually look at like the jawline to be like, oh, that's him.
Got it.
So he kind of looks
back
different.
To the Moana thing, I feel like the first movie was a very good stopping point. Like, I kind of said the same thing about Frozen, but that being said, Frozen 2, honestly, with my full chest, I can say made Frozen 1 a better movie.
Yes.
Like, they made it in such a way that the character arc finishes with 2. And so that makes 1 a better movie. However, I feel like the ending of Moana really should have been left as is. Because, like, yeah, they end it with, like, oh, we're going to go sail around now, which, sure, is open-ended. But it's one of those, like, it's open-ended, but that's because the story is meant to be left on, like, and now the world is their oyster, you know? And I feel like making a second movie kind of ends that. So, yeah, I'm not hyped about it.
The big thing is, when we're talking Disney, they're gonna, if they spot a franchise, they're gonna make a franchise out of something.
Yeah, and I really wish they would not do that, but we're kind of past that at this point.
Yeah, at this point, we know that, like, Disney is the machine.
They are going to.
They're going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, how do I say this? Yeah, with Marvel, they've kind of slowed it down just a little bit.
Only because they were going so hard. They were doing entirely too much.
Yeah, like, they had to slow that down, but now I really do hope, and don't get me wrong, I do like what they've done with the Acolyte, but with Star Wars, like, they gotta take a little breather.
They are starting to milk Star Wars dry too.
Yeah.
Like, I really did like Mandalorian, and I really like Ahsoka.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Boba Fett one and Boba.
Like the Book of Boba Fett, my thing with it was, it started off as the Book of Boba Fett, but then halfway through
it became Mandalorian Part 2.
Yeah, it became, oh, this is what Mando's doing in between seasons.
Yeah.
And Mando's going to be the focus, and Boba's just kind of there.
Yeah, and so...
Yeah.
And, like, what was the other one? The Rebel... No, that's one of the shows.
Because they did the Bad Batch, which was after Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Like, and the Bad Batch was actually really good because it did kind of tie into basically the end of Clone Wars.
Yeah.
So that I thought was
and
really
a little
cool.
bit with the what's the one with the blue-haired guy? I forgot.
With
the animated series?
Oh, that was Rebels.
Yeah, I feel like that one tied into Ahsoka well.
Yeah,
and I really liked how they did that. But I feel like a lot of the other ones are not doing a very good job of tying into each other, and it's just kind of more content that we don't need, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like at this rate, don't get me wrong, like, I love that because I love Star Wars, so
yeah,
I love that we do get some more content, but it's like, guys, like, slow it down just a little bit. Like, the big thing when we had before Disney bought it, like, when we got the prequel trilogy, the huge thing that made it feel so huge and so special was that we had to wait a couple of years between each movie, whereas with the sequel trilogy that we got that Disney gave us, it was like, okay, we got the main movie, and then, oh, we're going to get a series, and you're also going to get Rogue One thrown in there.
I do
and then
like
another
Rogue
movie,
One,
and then Solo. Like, out of all the
Solo
Disney...
is bad, though.
Out of all the Disney-made Star Wars films, my fave is Rogue One.
Yeah,
like, by far.
I think Rogue One works so well because it is both standalone and kind of the bow that ties together a lot of the series in many ways. It answers questions you didn't know you had, but not in the way that
not very
Solo
deliberately.
does.
Yeah, Solo was just like Solo was basically they took Han Solo's Wikipedia page, and just
said, let's do all of that.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, here's how we got the Falcon.
Yeah,
here's how we met Chewie. Here's how we got those little dice.
Whereas Rogue One kind of fills in a lot of the behind the scenes, so to say, of the Star Wars universe. It brings to light how many people are fighting and dying within the rebellion that you never meet, that you never know about.
Yeah,
and that's why it works so well. They're not the main characters.
Like, my favorite thing was the fact that the movie wasn't based on, either anybody in the Skywalker family or the Solos or the Sith or the Jedi. It was literally just, these are literally the people caught in between all of this madness.
And I feel like it worked so well because you go into it knowing, okay, none of these people are in the later movies, which means they either weren't important enough to be shown later or they die.
Yeah,
and
like
you go
literally,
into it
Mon
knowing
Mothma
that.
says it in A New Hope. Many good Bothans died, giving us this information.
Right.
So that just tells you, like, going into this movie, like, that these characters are gone.
Right. And I really like it as a world building piece because it really shines a light on just how many people are going through, New Hope levels of stories to make this rebellion work. But they're not, Luke. They're not.
Yeah,
they're not main
Luke,
characters,
they're not Leia,
and they die.
They're not Han.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of. So definitely, Rogue One's my fave out of all of them.
It's been a while since
out of
I
all
saw
of the
it, though. I should
Disney
rewatch
produced ones, I should say that one actually is the one I saw the most in theaters. I actually saw it 4 times in theaters because I liked it that much, and I really did I really did enjoy Rogue One. Andor actually works pretty well.
That's the one I haven't seen.
That one actually works really well because it does kind of stick more to like the Rogue One kind of storyline where it's just, the regular people involved in all of this rather than the Jedi or the Sith or anything like that. So it does kind of work that way, but I really do hope once they're done with this next crop of content, which is, whenever we get the next season of Mandalorian, or if we're going to get, we're supposed to get another season of Ahsoka as well, which I'm okay with, especially if the rumors are true that Hayden is going to come back more and we're going to get more of that, dynamic between
I feel like
Anakin
the
and Ahsoka
really works well, just because, it, like you said, it brings back, Anakin as a character, and it touches on things such as, how did his former apprentice really handle that? And it brings in some of the animation characters, and so I think Ahsoka works very well. I think the Mandalorian works very well, but they need to know when to stop.
Yeah, because that's why I'm hoping after this crop of stuff is done that they just let it sit for a little bit.
I am very worried about the one quote. I don't remember who said it, but it was one of the producers of The Mandalorian. Essentially, they said, I don't know when we're going to stop. I don't know what the end goal of Mandalorian is. Mm-hmm. That is the most concerning
And plus,
quote.
it's going to be even harder to do the show, especially now that, a certain Papi Pascal has become one of the most in-demand actors in the world.
So I really hope that they honestly just kind of do Ahsoka and then tie a bow on The Mandalorian, because I don't want them to make what was a very good season 1 and season 2 just null by making a
bunch.
Yeah, or just trying to draw it out longer than they need to.
Yeah, because allegedly for a lot of season 3, Pedro Pascal wasn't even in the suit. They just had him do voice work. Because, he's kind of off, making a bunch of other movies and this other awesome show called The Last of Us, which takes a really long time to film, which they're filming right now.
I am very looking forward to The Last of Us as well. And reading,
they revealed the first pictures of it, the other week, and just looking at the clothes that he is wearing, exactly in the game when that's going to happen.
I love
and
that level of detail.
Yeah, and it's just this is the day before everything goes south.
Bad.
So I saw
without
that picture.
saying spoilers, because I know of the plot of Game 2, and a lot of people don't know about the major twist. So
a lot of people are going to find out. That's for sure. But seeing that. Just seeing that outfit and just seeing the lights above him, I'm I know exactly where this is. I know what this scene is. Oh God, they filmed this.
Yeah, but I love the costuming, like you said, but also the set work of The Last of Us.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's one thing that a lot of people don't talk about with Star Wars as well. Yes, there's a whole lot of CGI elements. However, it is still one of the most like practical costume worked shows that I can think of. Mostly just because that was the precedent that they set, you know?
Yeah.
Because they started off with the very practical costumes because that's all they had.
Yeah.
They had to end up keeping that look. And I really love how you can see the development of, for example, like the face masks for some of the aliens. You can see over time how they continue improving it, and I love that kind of thing, and it's good.
Yes.
I just wish that more media would actually do more practical stuff. That is the hill I die on.
Yeah. Alrighty, so we've been talking for a while, so actually we will let it get back to the music here on AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. Up next, for our next segment, we got a special guest joining us. Stay tuned. Up next is, we got a double dose of the weekend. I wonder who put that in. And welcome back to the Dumpster Fire 4.2, part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh, here with Kion.
Hi, I'm Kion.
And here we have a special guest.
Hey, it's Rex. You know me from the roller coaster. I'm on the Dumpster Fire today. We're going to slogan to the weather.
Yes, we are going to slogan to the weather. Whoa.
Whoa.
Hi, guys.
Whoa.
Is
it weather, Josh?
It is weather.
Oh, good.
It is very much weather. Currently in Fort Lupton, we're looking at 79 degrees with a high of 86, a low of 56, partly cloudy skies. Wind gusts up to 4 miles per hour. Currently in Loveland, it is 82 degrees with a high of 82, a low of 58, sunny skies. Wind gusts up to 5 miles per hour. Currently in Windsor, it is 82 degrees with a high of 83, sunny sky, or a low of 57, sunny skies. Wind gusts up to 2 miles per hour. And currently on the home campus of Greeley, it is 81 degrees with a high of 85, a low of 58, sunny skies, and wind gusts up to 4 miles per hour.
That sounds like weather.
That sounds like weather. It's still very toasty. Always be careful out there, even though it is cloudy. Don't trust it. You can still get burned.
Yes, this is the Dumpster Fire roller coaster reminder to do sunscreen.
Wear sunscreen.
And drink water.
And yes, drink plenty of water.
Don't
drink
sunscreen.
Yeah, no, that's
don't get confused and drink the sunscreen.
Please don't drink the sunscreen.
Yeah. But yeah, just because it's cloudy and it's not as hot as it was last week.
Yeah.
But it was still quite humid out, and that humid
it feels muggy.
That can get to you. So
yeah, no, Friday I actually had to bring like a case of Gatorades when we were spinning fire because it was just like we're outside. It is hot. We're on hot asphalt.
Yeah.
There is fire. Like you're gonna get dehydrated. And we went through like almost that whole. It was an 18 pack that I brought, and we went through like almost the whole thing throughout the course of the night because it was. I think I got like 3 of them left at home, but still, it was hot.
Yeah. But that was weather.
That was weather. Shall we?
Music?
Well,
or say words.
Say words. I was going to say,
or
we
cough
just came
directly
back.
into mics.
Yeah, coughing directly into the mic.
Yeah,
Oops,
good plan.
My bad.
Oh, yeah, how is my volume looking over there, big man?
Big man Josh?
Yeah, I just
Are we
default to
sticking
that
with that?
sometimes.
Okay.
Looks like we are looking pretty good there, Rex.
Okay. The volume's good.
The volume
Yay.
is good.
We were going to talk about a topic.
Yes.
Do we want to do that now or in another segment?
We might as well do it now.
Okay.
I mean, we're all here. So
Yeah.
just to kind of bring everybody up to speed on one of the previous episodes of the Dumpster Fire, we went into the topic of JoJo Siwa's most very recent transformation of sorts.
So essentially, JoJo Siwa used to be one of the kids on Dance Moms. Then she had a social media presence. She was a creator for several different platforms. And now she has been trying to do a musical career and trying to market herself as kind of like a rebel. You know, she very much so will do risque things on stage. Will do had the Kiss style makeup for her video.
The Kiss style makeup, the whole trying to make quote unquote gay pop a thing when it's kind of been a thing.
Right.
The fun part is because I've seen actual people clip her segments with interviews is they make fun of her because she's saying she just makes no sense, and sometimes her voice is completely blown out because that song she sang, she tried singing it in the register. It was written by like who knows how many long ago because 2 other people have sang it before.
It was
Yeah.
her name.
Well, I don't remember who wrote the original one.
I think
'cause
it was
even
Brittany. I don't remember her last name, but Brittany something.
Yeah.
like it's Britney but even then she's not the original person who wrote it. She just sang.
Okay.
She just sang it.
Yeah.
And then since people loved her original cover, she put it up on Spotify.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's so funny because she's just like, I want to be like that person who made gay pop. And then she also is going back on her words being like, but I know I didn't make it. I think because she was just trying to say she wants to be known for gay pop of our generation, but she just did not at all.
The
get her point
biggest thing
across.
that we had discussed the last time we brought her up was just the whole like I no one else in my generation has made this big of a change.
Yeah.
And that's kind of relevant again today. But the
Yeah.
big thing that we discussed was how the fact that she's like, oh, no one else made this dramatic of a change when she really hasn't changed that much of her brand.
Yeah.
She
no.
still is very much like it's a very poppy, generic pop song.
All she's done is done a lot of thrusting. She's not,
yeah.
she hasn't
Yeah.
changed at all other than the fact that being really cringe.
She's
She can't-
basically just being very visibly queer, but not in like
She's kind of shoving it down your throat and not
Right.
just being
Yeah.
herself.
yeah.
Even though I think that is her being herself, but
but
give
in
and
a
take.
very like it feels like a very mass marketed way.
Yeah.
And it's in a way that's not doing her any favors either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
no.
I think it'd have been a lot more impactful if they just. If she also learns to slow down, because have you seen
Yeah.
the memes of people clipping her dancing?
Yes.
And then you see the people beside her, and they're moving, and the dance moves they're doing look great. But then she's literally right next to them, and she's jerking like a chicken with its head cut off.
Yeah.
So the thing is like you say, she isn't necessarily a bad dancer.
She's not.
Because she
She's good
has
sometimes.
she has the background of like a childhood doing dancing.
Yeah.
But the thing is I feel like she doesn't know how to adapt that to her stage presence.
Mhm.
She's trying to have the pace of like a rock artist, but she doesn't know how to do that, so she's just dancing fast.
Yeah.
I
you
also think that maybe she's not taking the criticism, and because people are critiquing her and showing like, hey, your co-dancers are doing it very smoothly, very well, and
Yeah.
to the beat, and you're doing it to the beat, but also looks completely wrong.
Right.
And then it became a really big TikTok trend of everyone trying to do the dance and everyone doing it better because they're
Yeah.
just taking their time to do it and not rushing through the steps.
Yeah. But the most recent development.
Yes, the
Oh,
most
a recent
recent
one.
development. Yes, I actually sent it to Kion last night. So Jojo Siwa was at a Pride event, which, cool.
Yeah. It's June.
Yep, it is June. On stage, Jojo Siwa has turned 21.
Yeah.
But then in another display of, ooh, look at my transformation.
I'm cool and rock and punk now.
Mhm. She decided to chug from a giant bottle of Tito's homemade vodka on stage.
Right.
Very
And-
mature for a 21-year-old. I'm turning 21.
Yeah, so I am also. But it's like
oh my gosh, birthday buddies.
I know. But the thing is, to me, this is kind of the proof to me that this is sort of like a public crisis that's happening here.
Mhm.
It feels very much like she is trying so hard to get away from her old image of
Yeah.
being like a dance kid. But she, like we said the last time we discussed it, she's not fully committing to it.
Mhm.
She's doing things like chugging hard liquor, but she still like has a very
Like
kind of like
very
pastel kind of,
a very kind of pastel
Yeah.
shtick, but still kind of
but is trying to pass it off as like I'm a hard rocker, you know?
yeah, but also
See-
trying to appeal more to like kind of like that younger crowd because a lot
Yeah.
of her fan base is definitely more gearing towards like the younger
right,
like the younger end of the
Yeah,
spectrum.
and I think people are pulling her audience pretty much away from her because she's not gaining a new audience. And then the
Right.
mothers are
Mhm.
seeing how she's acting and going, I don't want my child listening to her anymore, pretty much.
Yeah.
exactly.
And I think she's just losing her audience. And I think she needs to just be like, hey, yeah, no, I just want to go back to being pastel and pop, and that's fine. You
Right,
know,
because
no
then
one
she
said
would
she
get-
had to change.
Right, then she would get her old audience back at the very least.
yeah.
And or she either needs to do that or really commit to like the punk girl thing. Because I could totally see her being like a punk artist. Like,
I also want to say people have been clipping her old Dance Mom clips of her mom being a completely helicopter parent.
Yeah.
And how when she was a kid, her being on Dance Moms literally paid for the rent and the house and the food. And now she's, I don't know. I think something is going on behind the scenes and
that's
in front of our eyes.
Possible.
That's very...
Yeah.
That's very possible. I hadn't thought
very
about
possible that there could be, that we could be very well seeing like some kind of crisis, but just kind of unfolding like on stage in the guise of a concert. Like, you know, some of her actions may be more like to us, we're like, oh, she's doing these things, but perhaps they could be pointed, almost not attacks, I want to say, but like her management might be like, yo, you better like
reel it in. And then she's like, no, I'm gonna chug hard liquor. You know, I think
she's having a crisis.
I feel like that might be a good point, because I don't think she was really growing anymore at this point as a content creator. And so I can totally see her management being like, hey, how about you try doing like a live show, you know? And I could totally see how she as a person would want to have that more like, how to say, just I like that just using the word punk is like very good.
Yeah, because that's what she's trying to do.
Yeah,
she's just not succeeding.
But the management's kind of like, hey, no, we're not gonna let you, and so we're stuck with this very
kind of like
working
in between.
middle.
Yeah.
Because even her new song, because she, not gonna lie, she, in my opinion, she does not know how to control her voice. She's not a singer. She sings very well. She just is not a singer. Because
she needs vocal lessons to know how to use her voice.
Because the problem is she's straining. You can tell when she was trying to hit those notes in one of her interviews, where she was just completely straining and clenching her vocal cords to the point to get her to those high notes.
She can hit the notes, but she doesn't know how to hit the notes.
Yeah, because the problem is she doesn't know how to keep her... in lack of a better word, throat open. Because if you keep your throat open and relax, you actually get those notes a lot higher. She's just not shifting from the front of her mouth to her nasal.
Yeah.
She's not switching from the front of her mouth to her nasal to the back of her throat to get those high, low, high, low, you know?
Yeah. And I feel like the other thing is, I feel like she has the voice to be able to do, not necessarily screamo, but like, you know, that kind of like more rock metal genre,
like baby metal,
kinda
from Japan,
kinda. I feel like she has the voice to be able to sell genres that aren't just pop. But again, I feel like she's being limited. Because
I think her best opportunity that she could have taken after doing this and being like, no, I don't want to do it anymore, is probably to just go down, like, if she never went down this road, I think the best way to get her following more engaged instead of doing whatever the heck she's doing right now would have been to do a live tour around America and then treat it with like just young adults to kids and saying 13 plus. And then not going into the whatever this feral, thirsty dancing is.
Yeah, I feel like you have a good point, because there's a lot of content creators that will do either just like a comedy tour or basically just like a Q&A session.
Yeah.
Because she could have totally done a Q&A and also a show. And then in between sets, they did like 5 minutes of Q&A from the audience.
And if she wanted to have a segment where she like did dancing or even like, you know, some music in there, that would be fine. But if you just marketed it as just her tour and not as like a whole rebrand like kind of thing, I feel like that would have been more successful.
Another thing is, since her audience that she catered to for so long is so young, she could have done a 13 to something plus age range and then go on tour and then have it so there's a set of 5 raffle tickets for kids to come on stage and just goof around and dance with her while she's singing and actually doing her set. And then she has like 2 choreographers or basically babysitters to help the kids like dance in beat. That way everyone's having fun. And also parents who want to enter the raffle would pay an extra amount of money. You got to do the monetization.
That would work well.
Yeah, because they would have the normal tickets, then the raffle tickets, and there was only 5 slots, and then those people who entered the raffle tickets have it so their mom and dad sign off the thing of like, yes, I consent for my child to possibly being on photograph and everything, because that's always going to happen at a concert, and especially if they're in a raffle, to be on stage.
And on the stage, right?
Yeah, and then I think another thing would have been like really fun to go for more teenage pop, because a lot of our kids kind of went. A lot of the kids that originally started watching her grew up, and they grew out of her because they got bored. And now she's swinging the absolute opposite direction, trying to cater to our age range. And all of us are going, that is so cringe. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Because we basically grew up with her. Well, not really, but we are around
like
her age
or older. So
I didn't watch her, but we grew up at the same time as her. And then the other thing is, I think it'd been really fun if they did kind of a K-pop inspired concert where all the kids get like really cool magic wands to bounce with
I feel like they
the
have stuff like that in some of them, but I think the bigger thing is just understanding who our audience is. I feel like that's the big point that you hit on, of just knowing that and accepting that her audience is younger, and not trying to be like, oh, I'm going to be like an adult punk artist now,
because I understand if she wanted to do that, that's totally fine, but it clearly looks like she doesn't want to swing that far. She just wants to go,
or maybe
another
her
level
managers
above.
don't want her to. Either
way, I think she needs to get a new manager and discontinue that contract, because she could totally solo it herself. She had the fan base to support her, but now she doesn't really. Because I don't know what's going on behind the scenes with contracts, or her mother or other managers, but they're kind of limiting her, or because right now, based off of all of her interviews, it does not seem like there's a manager present. It feels like there's no managers pulling the strings.
It could be either way. This is complete speculation. But I could totally see where it was, maybe it's just like her mother, but it's not necessarily like a Britney situation. And it's more of like, hey, let's not be like a complete change, even if it's not like we are not allowing you to do this complete change. I would be willing to bet that the people in her life, including managers, wouldn't promote this change that she's doing.
I think there's a lot of stuff going on that we can't even picture, but at the same time, I think let's hypotheticalize that it is all her. My thing is, she made too much of a jump and now kind of regrets because she doesn't want to sing those heavy songs, because some of those things because it doesn't have to delve into deeper topics, but she doesn't really have songwriters to write those songs for her, and she can't reach those chords, and she also doesn't know how to really do those dance moves. When I feel like she wanted to mature as this artist, but she should have done it gradually, going from kids to teens, and then eventually young adults.
And if she would have done it that way, she would have had the time to be able to find a good songwriter to do more heavy stuff. She would have had the time to have a trainer to teach her how to hit
there are artists that you've seen have kind of like adapted their their songwriting and then their performance style as their age has gone. And Dax is going to bonk me on the head. Like, I'm actually going to use Taylor Swift as an example, because her early stuff, was very, America's sweetheart. Very, love story, very, just, a teenage girl singing happy songs. I feel
like Taylor actually is a pretty good example, so I'll allow this one.
And then, as she's gotten older, the songs have gotten a little bit more complex, and now, like, with her newest, like, going into Reputation, that was like a different kind of era, but she did actually take the time to learn actually how to dance more to like that style of music.
She didn't just jump off the cliff.
Like she actually put in the time to learn how to dance to that type of music. And then obviously now with her songs, like they're more complex now. Like she does swear in the last few albums, like she does swear now, but it's still, how do I say this? It's still her, but she's kind of made this gradual transition from like, music for, a 10-year-old dancing in their bedroom to, like people my age or more that we hear like stuff like Florida where she's like saying some crazy things and we're like,
yeah,
we
and
get
even
you.
then, I didn't listen to one of the songs, but I've listened to clips of the song, and it doesn't really even go that far with swearing. She literally censors half the words with her.
Well, she does have to do like radio edits as well, to be fair.
Yeah, which is fine, but it's also really, if you want to do a radio, like, because in the clips that I've seen, the originals it's still censored.
Yeah.
But then there's version. If she just made one version where it was like hard uncensored,
yeah,
that would have been fine. And then later release one where it was censored, that would make more sense.
Yeah.
But it just feels like she's putting in words.
I feel like to kind of go to back to the gradual thing though, and I feel like the reason that it sounds like her is because she had the time to make that transition. She didn't just do a hard switch overnight.
Yeah.
And she knows her style as an artist, and she knows how to keep that in.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, her style is not, swearing all of the time.
Yeah,
and
no, like
so that would not be part of her brand.
Yeah, like for her and her songs, her big thing is like if she swears in a song, it's because the content of the song merits, a swear word. Like this most recent album was, it was heartbreak, it was anger, it was, basically revealing to the world that the guy that she was with for 6 years cheated on her, dumped her right before she was about to take on the biggest tour of her life. So naturally, she's a little upset and she's gonna vent that. So that makes sense, like in that album, because it is the album that she has sworn the most, but she doesn't swear just to swear. Like lyrically in the context of the song, like she is mad and she's just gonna say it. Like it's not just, oh, I'm gonna throw in an F-bomb just for shock value. Like,
which
no,
I
there's
think
a
is
reason.
Kind of, like, because what I don't know who we're referencing is.
Taylor Swift.
Still Taylor.
Oh, yeah.
Still Taylor.
Yeah, I gotcha. I didn't know if it changed or not, but I definitely think that's very interesting because it feels like JoJo is just putting it in there to be like, I've definitely changed.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, other people just, they've already settled into who they are. They already know what they're doing. And I feel like maybe since JoJo never really ever experimented outside with, because usually I think I'm going to use Living Tombstone as an example.
That's good.
Because the Living Tombstone, they as a group have made a lot of good songs, and a lot of them are video game related, but they've slowly released more and more
of their
original
own stuff
along with video game stuff, and then marrying what they learned from those projects, which different beats and different tempos, but still kind of pop, but also electro, but also
techno.
Punk at the same time. Sometimes I'm thinking like Drunk, that how it's kind of poppy. I mean funk and also stuff. I don't know how to explain it, but
I don't know all of their stuff, but I am familiar with the artist.
Yeah, and they've leaned into finding out like where they're leaning, and they make a lot of bangers. I don't really know many of their recent bangers, but I have heard a couple of them where I'm like, yeah, that's good. I like that. That's
I feel like again the context helps a lot, because starting if you're gonna do like a more punk based song, if you're like a cover or like a fan writer like Living Tombstone, it makes sense to do a more heavy metal-esque song when you're covering video games that are more dark, that is easier to do in the context. And I feel like that's what JoJo is lacking. She is lacking the context in order to be a real metal or rock or punk artist. She is presenting as I am, no one's done this big of a change, but there's nothing besides her very like, how to say, risque behavior.
Yeah.
I think she's just acting out to act out.
Yeah.
Because again, if we're going by the presumption of just her doing it because she wants to, I think she's just trying to experiment, but she's going too far. She's not leaning into, because I understand that she's like, oh, this song is like based off my ex, and because she found a song that she really liked the lyrics of and then interpreted it to her own experience. But I think it'd been a lot nicer and so much cooler if she were just to hire a songwriter,
Yeah.
tell them their feelings about events,
And
and
let
then
them
have
kind of-
something.
That
Yeah.
also would have
Yeah.
helped her whole dilemma with saying that she wrote the song.
Yeah.
Because she never said she wrote the song.
But she said it was her
she-
song, though.
Yeah.
Well, it is her song legally. She bought the rights to it.
But
She just never said she wrote it, and everyone
she never
misinterpreted
said that she didn't have. She never said that she wasn't the original artist. Is the thing?
Yeah, but because that's just not gonna lie. That's just showbiz. Almost everyone's never been the original artist
Well,
for
yeah,
some
like-
of the songs. Not
like if you look
every-
at the liner notes for literally every Beyonce song ever,
That's true.
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
like she sings them, but that's about it.
like a lot of musicians share the same songwriter, and they find old songs that never got finished or officially released, and then they make
Yeah.
them. That's just music
yeah,
business.
that's just
how a
the
label
biz
works.
I
Yeah.
feel like
So I just feel like it's just society and social media as a whole not understanding how the record label works, and then they
Yeah.
just interpret it like, "Oh, you stole it," when she never claimed it
That's
as
true.
hers. She just said that
True.
this
she
is her
did
song.
pretty much
you know?
say that. She never really did say that she wrote it. That's true. But the way that she was so like into the like, oh yeah, karma, like that's
Yeah.
that. I feel like the way that she was so into it as her branding, and then people realized she didn't write it and it wasn't the original, is what came back around to bite her.
See, the also thing is those are like the Twitter. Like you have, let's just see internet as a whole as Twitter users, Reddit users, and 4chan.
Yeah.
Those people are and TikTok too. TikTok's starting
Yeah.
to get up there.
Yeah.
But those people are the ones who see things, judge, and then they don't care about anything else because they're like, "Oh, you said you were
It's
going to
just
change
the initial
song."
shock
Yeah.
value.
Yeah, the initial shock paired with not knowing how labels, like record labels work, paired with also seeing how excited she was, like, this is my song, and it is her song, she bought it, but and this is my song, we're doing a lot of changes, everything's really cool, and you know that's cool and all, but she never really did too many changes other than adding and
Yeah.
throwing in random curses, from my opinion.
Yeah.
It like she did changes, but not really enough for anyone to
Yeah.
be like, oh, it's different.
And I
Yeah.
feel like the point of bringing that up, though, was more like if she had her own songwriter, she could have avoided that pitfall, you
Yeah.
know? Like,
Yeah.
especially because, like, let's say that she kept Karma as one of her big songs and then also had a songwriter. If she would have been like, hey, these are songs that were written and these are the ones that I did, you know, out of the gate and made it very clear. But I feel like the problem is Karma is basically the song she is writing on. That's like her biggest number.
Yeah,
And-
and that's what is kind of her downfall as well.
Yeah.
She didn't have a variety of songs ready to come out as a bundle. She just had the
just had the
single.
one.
Yeah. So, yeah,
Yeah.
Because she just came out with a single and then
pretty much.
hoped everyone would take the sudden change. That's not really a big sudden change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was JoJo Siwa.
That was JoJo Siwa, and we have been talking for a little while, so we will go ahead and let it get back to the music here on AIM Student Radio. We don't have any of the new songs yet, and I will figure out a way to get them on here. But up next, we got Billie Eilish. Enjoy. And welcome back to the Dumpster Fire 4.2, part of AIM Student Radio, the way radio should be. I am Josh, here with Dax, and here with Rex.
Hello.
We are here.
Hello.
We are back. That was just Blow Me Away by Breaking Benjamin. A little bit of trivia for those of you who may not know the origin of the song. It was originally made quite a while ago for Halo 2. And the cool part, in the original Xbox release of Halo 2, there was a mission in the campaign where you are vastly outnumbered as you enter into this hallway, and there is Covenant all over the place. You literally just hear Cortana go, "I think we're outnumbered, Chief," and the song kicks in, and you go absolutely wild, and you tear these Covenant fools to shreds as the song is playing. But in the Master Chief collection of the version game, either due to licensing issues or something of the like, the song has been removed and replaced with an instrumental version that sounds kind of similar, but it's not really the song, and it just takes away from that, from that moment.
What's interesting to me is if it was originally made for that, why would they have licensing issues? But
This song has kind of a weird history because the original version was made for the game, but then one of the members of the band who claimed to have written the song left the band, and there was a whole dispute over the ownership of the song, a la Taylor Swift.
Gotcha.
So then the band re-recorded the song with a different person, jumping in on the vocals as well to kind of make it like a different song.
Yeah.
So there is kind of this ownership dispute, so that could have been part of it as well, where where maybe they just couldn't get access to like the original song because of the dispute,
or maybe because they had to re-record it, they didn't have like the licensing for like the new version.
Possibly. It's a very weird history, but both versions are still on Spotify. Like you can find the re-recorded version and the original version, which will still show up under the Halo 2 soundtrack because they have the whole thing on Spotify.
Interesting.
Yes. And it's been and it was how to say this, that's just like always one of my favorite parts of that game. So what I will do is, since you can listen to music on Spotify while you're playing on your Xbox, is I'll pull up the song, and when I get to that level, I'll hit play, so I can basically recreate
that moment.
Like that moment.
Yeah.
But that's just a little tibia tidbit for today. I'm trying not to die or to cough into the mic, okay?
Josh, do you need some water?
You need new lungs.
I don't think a Baja Blast energy drink counts as water,
no,
but
it counts.
all right.
It counts for Josh.
We've had you haven't seen this, Rex, but caffeine as a stimulant opens up airways. My airways are not good.
I guess, but it also constricts blood vessels. That's why caffeine can be used to help cure headaches, but only for minor ones, not really migraines or anything. So it's a give and take. It's not the best.
It is not the best. I just got a random spam call, so I'm just like, shoo. But literally like one finger just.
We were going to discuss the Lego.
Yes. Is the price of Legos getting way too outrageous?
My vote is yes, because my sister wants some Lego sets, and I got her a Lego set of roses, and that thing was almost $50 for just roses. It was like closer to 30, but still, I can exaggerate. It was a lot out of my wallet, pretty much. I was like, I love you, sister, but also, God dang, because there's Legos that she wants $200. She wants
or
to, it's
more.
And more. Especially the Star Wars ones. They think they can make
the
a
Star
quick buck.
ones. The Star Wars ones are ridiculous. They just announced the Legend of Zelda Lego set that I was like, I need, until I saw the price tag, $300.
I'm feeling that same way. They're making a Notre Dame, and it looks gorgeous. It is stunning. But it is like $400.
There's a Lego man who makes Lego designs, and his design for like a one-piece one got rejected because it's too many pieces. Come on.
Too many
Have you
pieces?
seen some of them?
Yeah.
They're literally stickers for like the Enterprise or something. Literally the stickers go on, and then there's so many pieces for everything. All you have to do is downsize it and figure out a way to make custom pieces for it. That's just what they do for every Lego set. It's a custom thing.
Yeah. I think the thing for me is like, how much does it really cost to make those pieces? You know,
probably like 10 cents. It's plastic.
Yeah.
Like the thing with Legos, and the reason that they're so durable is because they make it out of ABS plastic, which is definitely, it is a little bit more of a durable plastic.
Yeah.
That's why Legos last,
forever.
But at the same time, it has been like the prices have just gotten so outrageous.
Right.
And I get trying to combat it to a point because there has been quite a big spike in Lego theft. Yes, that is an actual thing of people literally breaking into Lego stores and stealing the sets to try to resell them. Like, Lego theft is legitimately a thing now.
Well, if they just barred up the thing and then also lowered the prices, people wouldn't be able to sell it for that high.
I feel like the reason that there is a market for them, though, is because of how expensive they are.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I feel like people wouldn't be stealing them to resell it if they weren't that expensive,
Mm-hmm.
Like, I I know about like knockoffs and that kind of thing and people trying to do reselling, but I really don't. I think the thing for me is like it's good that they have a focus on quality.
Yeah.
Like obviously it's good that they want to maintain a level of like making sure that it looks good, but at the same time of even then that's not going to make a couple pieces of plastic worth $400. And it's like what's really crazy is like I can kind of see why like their massive guitar one or like the scooter and like all those big kits, I can get why those can be like maybe 200, maybe.
Yeah, but those little ones are definitely just marketed for, hey, look at this small little thing the size of your head. This is definitely worth $400. No, it's not.
It's
I bought
also
a
like
Claymore for $400.
The licensing too. Because, like, oh boy.
I mean, Lego gets the licensing for everything.
Yeah.
So that could also be part of it as well. Because, like, those licenses, especially if they're licenses that they've had for a very, very long time, they do come up for renewal every few years.
Yeah.
And every time that rights get renewed, they do kind of spike in price. So, like, the Star Wars sets, like, good Lord. I don't even want to know how much licensing is.
But at the same time, it's like, it's just a massive upcharge to say that, oh, I want this spaceship, but it's the official Star Wars one, so it's going to cost you an extra $100.
Yeah, and the only way for you to even battle it is maybe Lego should think about making their own sets. Because if they just made their own...
They make their own,
but not any of them are very cool.
I mean, they have, like, the flower ones are original, but I feel like the bigger problem is just... The cost of making it and even like renewing licenses should
be $400 a set,
right?
If it was $50 a set, that'd make more sense. But even then, that's super inflated.
I do remember when back then, like $50 would get you like a really big Lego set.
Yeah,
and now. Like, I look at some of the last time I actually was at Target with Kion and Dax, we miss you, Dax, we were looking at Lego sets, and even some of, like, the little ones that are, like, in a box maybe the size of my hand, and they weren't even anything special, were, like, $14-15, and it's, like an 80, maybe an 80-piece Lego, and it's, like, I remember back then, like, my brother would get weekly report cards for like elementary school and such. And if he had good grades, my parents would go and buy him a little Lego set, like as a little achievement or whatnot.
Yeah.
And these little Lego sets were like $5. So he had literally all the $5 Lego sets, and they were the ones in these little boxes. And now it's like, oh, this same, like this little box is now $15, and it's like, oh, so that it's tripled in price.
Right.
Like, that's insane.
And like the cost of goods could not have tripled that, Like there is no way that it is 3 times as expensive to make like resin or the plastic, the ABC plastic.
Yeah, the ABS plastic.
Yeah, ABC. Oh dear. But
Easy.
I'm losing steam here, guys. But I think the main thing that is so interesting about it is if you kind of zoom out, Lego as a company is very marked up. But it's also like everything else in some ways. Yeah, and so I really wonder if they are.
It is
like,
marked up, but I do feel like perhaps they're marking it up more than other companies.
Right. I'm wondering if they are using the inflation that is going on as kind of like an excuse to get even like more excessive. You know what I know?
Yeah, because there is a term that has been thrown around more and more as inflation has skyrocketed called greedflation, where it's not because where they're inflating prices, and not just Lego but various other companies, that they're inflating prices not just because the cost is that much higher, but at that point it gets to a certain point that they're just inflating it just to be greedy and to get more money into their pockets.
Yeah,
I definitely agree, because even though the cost to make everything and to get everything and to get those sources has gone up, the sales price does not need to go that high.
No.
I understand if it goes up $1 every year, but there's a point where you're literally just milking your customers. And I think that's what a lot of bigger corporations are doing, particularly with, I think, car part. I mean, back in the day, it was kind of car fixer-uppers. I don't remember what they're called right now. Mechanics.
Mechanics.
Yeah, they would juke you on a bunch of things, being like, "Oh yeah, you definitely need this." And now I think
still do that.
they still do, but
Yeah.
a lot of them that I've met have been more honest than others. Even though I don't really know much of cars, but I can tell
Yeah.
when the price is not as expensive as another place.
Oh yeah.
It's like, it's not that hard to be shown to be trustworthy, I guess.
Mhm.
Because even my 2 jobs right now, even though everything is pretty expensive because of inflation and everything, they have to make sure they can pay their employees.
Yeah.
It's still very reasonable. Because if anything, my job or the shirt I'm wearing right now,
Yeah.
the in-store price is cheap, but the wholesale price for other stores to buy the donuts is inflated. That way we can afford the wages of our
Yeah.
workers, because you have to afford the gas for the trucks and
Yeah.
making sure every employee
Yep.
can be paid. Meanwhile, everything at the location is cheaper because
Right.
we're able to cover our asses
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like the car parts is a decent example. I work a job where I sell like parts that are similar to that. And usually if it's a good sale, if it's a good item, at most we should be making like 30% of whatever it is.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you can usually tell about how much that is if you work retail. For example, that 99 cents is usually there just so they can kind of buff that whatever percent they're making.
Yeah.
But it's also, really feel like the whole inflation thing is making it so that, yeah, their cost of goods maybe went up 20%, but then they're upping prices by like not 20 or 30%.
I
They're
think
like
it's-
timesing it by like 4 or 5, you
Yeah.
know?
I think they're not even doing 60% of because like one of my jobs has the smaller items be a 60% 50 to 60% sales. I can't remember what it calls. The 50% interest is it?
Yeah. Or
whatever.
like a profit margin.
Yeah, the 50% profit margin, because that's the smaller things are more expensive than the bigger things, because the bigger
Yeah.
things are cheaper. That way, the smaller things cover up what the bigger things cost. Like to
Yeah.
get a really big, really nice tank
Yeah.
is expensive no matter how you look at it,
Mhm.
and they're
Yeah.
able to custom look at it, and they're also able because. The way they are very good, they're able to get you a custom ordered tank, and they'll look over any of the imperfections, and they'll turn it back in, and then get you a new one for like, just like, hey, this was wrong, you did it wrong,
Yeah.
and they measure everything out to the T. They do everything very, very professionally there, but the smaller items, cover all the costs of their warranties, because they
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
really good warranties. Like because I work at a fish shop,
Mhm.
and if your fish dies within 7 days and your water tests completely normal and not bad, they'll replace that fish no matter the cost of the fish.
Interesting.
They'll give it to you. Like it's really, really good place. I love
Yeah.
working there. I love both of my jobs. I adore them right now, and that's where you want to be in a job. But
Mhm.
I definitely think when it comes to bigger corporations, like we're going back to Lego, it feels like they're doing not a percentage, but literally timesing the
Yeah.
original cost
Yeah.
of whatever it is.
Right. It's what is also interesting is you kind of mentioned this with like the sales of individual items.
Mm-hmm.
If something cost a retailer, I don't know about the actual production cost as much,
Mhm.
but if something cost a retailer, particularly a reseller, to like let's say just $20 to buy, we will probably sell it for like probably 30 or like maybe 40.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, to get like a
But
profit in there.
then if the original retailer bumps up prices and we originally bought it for that $20 mark, but they
Mhm.
keep upping their prices, that means we have to leave ours around the same spot
Yeah.
because that's what we had it marked as. We had
Mhm.
sometimes we can up it a little bit, but we usually can't go crazy with the up of it.
Yeah.
But the original sales price is now not matching how much we can sell it, and so we are
Mhm.
losing our margin because they keep upping their prices.
Yeah, that's the problem with us too. Because
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
though everyone else is trying to keep it fair, because if it's a smaller company,
Yeah.
they're trying to keep it fair, and we're trying to keep it fair. Because everyone wants to make sure everyone gets what they need for
Yeah.
their said hobby or literally their car, depending on where you go.
Mhm.
Because let's say I want, because I did a couple of SKUs lately, which a SKU is just a barcode.
Yeah.
You scan that in and you see how much the cost is on the delivery sheet. And I've learned I really like doing that. Anyways, long story short, say you get it for $1, we mark it up to $6 because we still have to pay our employees a fair wage and also feed all of the animals we have.
Yeah.
So even though it seems like much, it feels like, even though, let's say it costs $2 for a couple Lego pieces, right?
Yeah.
It feels like they're doing $2 and making it to $20 a piece.
Yeah. And like he's, I don't want to keep saying the same thing over and over.
Yeah, it's just frustrating. I think
no,
it's
it
just
really is, and I do feel that it's kind of gotten to a point where we are actually starting to see like some customer pushback, because usually when things get tough economically, stores like Walmart, Target, so you know how they have their own brands like Great Value or whatever the one that Target has.
Yeah.
Whenever times get tough economically, stores like that will push their own brands hardcore because they'll sell it at a cheaper price, and they'll purposely try to undermine like some of the big competitors. So like, for example, the Gatorades that I mentioned that I bought on Friday, that I took to Friday Fest because holy smokes, that was hot. Those were and they had never brought them out until recently. These were like Walmart branded Gatorades, and this was an 18-pack, and I paid $7 for them, whereas the actual Gatorade pack was like 12.
Yeah, that's
and I was just
they're
like,
undermining their.
Yeah, they are literally like, and that's what they do. A lot of those big stores will do that. They'll be like, oh, you don't want to pay the Gatorade price? Okay, buy ours.
Yeah,
and
the thing
that
happens.
Being an adult is so weird because I've learned a lot of this stuff, like the margins I just talked about, and realizing how it all works. Because everything that I've seen right now is really fair, but at the same time, when I look at the other side of the thing, when I'm trying to buy literal food to survive, and then I see how I'm very lucky to have 2 jobs I'm very thankful and very happy to be in. Even though I don't get paid that much still, I still look at the other circle and still see people who are working jobs they absolutely despise just to make ends meet. And even then they're living paycheck to paycheck. I'm so thankful for all my situations. And it's just been super frustrating because groceries are very expensive, and I have to help feed a family of 6 right now, even though 2 of them are moving out. But because all of us take turns kind of buying food for ourselves, and I tried to make family meals so that way people can like, hey, you don't have to do that right now. You can you can eat this macaroni and cheese I made, pretty much. Because it's just kind of really sad to kind of see where we're going, because it's kind of stressful sometimes, because I've been worrying because I might have to help pay for house payments and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And I also have to balance college because I still want to graduate and do like a lot of certificates and things. But balancing college, food, and just gas payments and other things is just
it is
getting
crazy.
rough.
Like, that's the reason that I stay here at Ames, because thankfully they managed to, and I'm forever grateful that the tuition has stayed at a point that I can actually afford to come here and pay out of pocket for it. Granted, it's only a couple of classes at a time because I do still have to work full time, but I am grateful that the tuition is at this level that I can make it work, even if it takes me longer to graduate because I can't do it full time and I'm not going to take out a loan. Like, sorry, government.
I'm never going to take out a loan if I can't help it, because that stuff. My friend had to take one, and I learned that because she goes to New York, and she is now grounded to live in New York for 2 years until that loan is up. Like, the loan time, like, she might not be able to pay it off, but she has to stay in New York for 2 years at the least before she can move out. And I told her, hey, man, maybe you should just take a break out of school, because I know you just finished your degree. Once you finish the rest of the degree that you're currently getting, your certificate or something, just stop doing classes until you figure out what you actually want to do. Because right now, I think I've gotten to the point that even though I know what I want to do, I might take a break after I get my radio and television certificate, because I want to get my audio certificate and maybe an electrician certificate and a couple other certificates just to look nicer on, because I want to do behind the scenes. I don't want to do in front of the camera. I want to do everything behind it. And that would require maybe writing and graphic design and stuff. But it's just, I think I'm going to have to start taking, because even though I'm doing pretty well off, it's also not the best. I'm trying to get into a point where I'm comfortable, but even then, when I'm comfortable, I don't feel like I am, because who knows what's going to happen.
No, it is basically getting to a point where it is getting kind of crazy, like to the point where, like, I game a lot. Like, Kion can attest. I game, like, a horrifying amount. And I've gotten to the point where, like, just the cost of gaming itself, like, sure, people say, oh, there's subscriptions like, you know, Game Pass and PS Plus. Yeah, sure, that's cool, but Game Pass is slowly going up, not as drastically as PS Plus did, but it is going up. And then nowadays I'm kind of at a point where I won't buy a new game like day one, because new games nowadays cost $70 a pop.
So
easy.
So nowadays
that makes me think of Voice Critical.
Yeah.
He basically ragged on the gaming community because of how expensive mainstream games. I don't mean to be cutting you off,
no,
but I just am in a talking mood, because while Kion is dying down, I'm starting to rev up. I'm a person who revs when, like, the more I talk, the more I go on. But he was just ragging on a lot of games that are like $50, $70, and then pointing at, look at Pal World, basically $20 are free, and it's super fun. Like, this is why everyone's playing it, is because your games are too expensive.
Yeah,
and that is becoming actually a thing. There's actually been multiple articles published in multiple reputable sources about this, that the cost of AAA game development has skyrocketed, and it's literally gotten to the point where people within the industry have said it is unsustainable now, where basically
the barrier
a game...
for entry for video games is getting too high.
Yeah, and
ridiculous.
It's also good to see, because indie gamers are sweeping in, like, I mean, indie programmers, indie developers are sweeping in this market, being like, look at my small, very beta, very bad game. It's free right now, but eventually it'll be $5. And I think a really good one is not what is it called? What is it called? It's like Watcher. Like, it's the one where you go and collect stuff, and then something monsters. Ships.
Is it in Silence?
Security something.
Okay. Isn't it like Lethal Company?
Lethal Company.
My brother plays.
Lethal Company was only $12, and I have yet to play it, but it's so
Lethal
fun.
Company is honestly like, you could probably sell that for like at least $20.
Yeah, and he only has it for like 15.
Yeah,
I got it for 12 on sale.
I believe I also got it for 12.
And like, it was so like, I have yet to play it, but I've seen gamers and my friends in group chats play it, and I just kind of watch, and I'm like, maybe I should join one day, but I know I'd be an absolute coward.
An example I could give is Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate was fairly expensive, but it wasn't like AAA expensive, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah,
and it was still
60
giving you bang
rather
for your
than
buck.
70, but they gave you beyond a bang for your buck.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Like you say, it was, still, I think I got it for like $40 because it was on sale.
Yeah.
But it was like, I've played over 100 hours in this, and I haven't finished the game. And there's still a ton of stuff I could do.
Yeah,
and that is a fair price. When you can have hundreds of hours in a game and have plenty to do, that is worth, 60.
Yeah, actually, and it's ironic that I'm mentioning this because I actually really love this game. Hellblade 2. It just came out a couple of weeks ago. It cost $50. But because it had such a crazy development cycle, because it is like a super AAA game, like the visuals are psychotic. It's only about a 8-hour game, maybe. Some people I've seen have done it in less than 6, but they still charged $50 for it. And like, there was a bit of controversy beyond that, because the game, like, there is some gameplay, but for the most part, you play that game because it looks pretty.
Yeah, and the sad part, I think Death Stranding. Like, Death Stranding is expensive, but it is so beautiful, and I've seen it last a couple hours.
When it's a Kojima game, as Death Stranding is, that's different, because Kojima games look pretty, but holy moly, he had so much stuff.
The example I was going to use is the Sims packs.
Yeah.
So, basically, the DLC expansion packs for the Sims can easily be like 20, 40, maybe even 50, depending on where, like, the pack dollars. And like, that is the price of like a game that should be giving you like a lot of content.
Yeah.
At least 50 hours
but
of content.
I think to give Sims a little bit of a chance is the main game is free to cheap. You know, depending on what game, but I got
the base
Sims
game
games
is
for,
like
$20 or something.
Well, actually, a few years ago they gave away the base game for free on PS Plus.
Right.
But like nowadays the base game itself is dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, the base game is cheap to maybe vaguely expensive, sometimes free depending on if they're doing a sale or something.
Right.
Because I got mine for free.
Yeah, that's
but
how I got my copy.
the DLCs and everything is very expensive because they have to make a project somewhere.
Mhm.
Yeah. But the point being is like I should not have to pay the same price for a game that gives me 140 hours over that.
Yeah.
For something that I opened up and then immediately realized I'm being undersold because they didn't even give me all of the things that they did in Sims 3.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it is.
That's why I only have the free one.
Yeah, no, it is becoming like I said, because several people within the gaming industry have said that basically the market for AAA gaming is becoming unsustainable because some of these games are getting such huge budgets that they're pretty much forced to sell like a horrifying amount of copies within the first month. Otherwise, it's considered a dud.
Right.
And
I
it is
think-
kind of a. It is. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to cut you
No,
off
no,
there,
you
but
keep going. I cut you off.
but it is, a bit of a bummer because, like, with an indie game, obviously you do have a way different profit margin there, but like these AAA games, as cool as they are, they've just gotten so expensive to make, and these developers are under so much pressure that because they spend literally years working on these games, and then to have it all boil down to basically 1 month that if you don't sell basically Call of Duty numbers, like the game's considered a dud no matter how good it is because it didn't make back what they spent on it.
I feel like a part of this is something we've touched on before, and the level of like graphics and realism that's going into it. Because having a game that looks really good is fun. It is definitely a factor. But when you have it be such a necessity that it is, you have to have like a team of people doing rendering to make your game worthwhile, it ends up just increasing that need for having such a like massive selling game.
I want to say I'm not a gamer, but I might have an interesting idea on this. It's because I feel like gaming right now is at a standstill where everyone watches a creator first play through the game before they buy it because they want to figure out if it's even worth it.
Yep.
And then there's another thing where I think some creators are realizing like, hey, I mean, not creators, but I think, in my opinion, graphics are very overrated unless it's done right. Like Death Stranding, in my opinion, I love that. I love the Death Stranding, but I definitely think I miss chunky, pixelated, gross games. Like Wizards 101. I saw.
Oh man.
Like they
Wizards
recently
101.
did a graphics update, and it's atrocious. It looks good, but they did not change any of the settings.
Oh,
So
no.
without it being pixelated, it looks gross.
Oh no.
They made it look nice, and all the characters and stuff are cute. But since they made it so the backgrounds and all the really fine details were not changed, and it's just crisp original art, it looks atrocious.
no.
It looks kind of bad. And
Yeah.
they also have a paywall still. And I wish they would get rid of the paywall or at least lower the price because I think they're doing like $10 a month.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
I think if Wizards 101 just lowered the price to $2 a month, people would buy. They would get so many people being like, "Oh my gosh, what? I can finally play this game," and then they'd realize they have a market for just being a cheap paywall.
I feel like that if they did that, it would also help. But I feel like they should honestly kind of go the gacha route with like, and just do like if you want to get like these coins so you can get these like overpowered spells or like these cool pets.
The only
like
problem
the
is
in-game purchase
I hate
option.
that. Because at least when you're still playing it within the paywall, like you don't go beyond the paywall, you can level up so high just fighting the lower thing. Because some people have been playing it since they were a kid but never got past the paywall.
Yeah.
And they are very high leveled. I know my account is super high leveled. I need to delete it and restart if I ever decide to play it. because I think that would ruin all the fun a little bit. Because I got to like level 20 or 40 just playing it for a month as a kid, and I never got past the paywall.
Dang.
What I mean though is if you have that revenue option, you can still be making money without limiting content.
So,
You know, because by putting a paywall up, you were restricting what game people can get to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See, I want to also bring up Wizard 101 again, just to go on with your gotcha idea, is because if they made it so they have the gotcha idea, but where it's an idea where they have different outfits that are really hard to earn, like if they had it so there's a way to get it for free, but it's super hard, then made it so there's also a way that it's an easy instant paywall. That's how you make money.
Yeah.
That's how, and also have ads at the bottom corner. People can deal with it. Like, suck it up.
The ads, I don't feel like are a great option. However, it is a very a very appealing choice.
Like, if the ads are done properly, then it's not that bad.
The way I view the ad is because you know how on any computer you always have that small bar?
Yeah.
But when you go full screen on the game, you can't get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine it's just a small bar.
Yeah.
And then there's a way to have a pay thing to get rid of that bar for $5 a month.
Yeah.
Then you'd have the people who give you the subscription.
Yeah.
And then you also have the people who watch the ads.
Yeah. I feel like if they
So it's funny that you mentioned that, because in old games, like and wow, I'm gonna definitely show my age here. The old Rush games on the N64, these were racing games. Like, they were just fun. You drove around, you crashed, haha. But the company that made the games were actually really clever, because when you're driving around, because it's supposed to be in the city of San Francisco and a couple of cities in the U.S., the billboards that they would put on that you would drive by were ads for either the games themselves or like other games that the company made, or ads for like their developing arm, or like whoever they got their parts from to make the game, like computer components and stuff, and they would put that in there. But because you're driving, you don't really, how do I say this, like the ad's there, but your eye's not like glued,
you don't look at it.
Yeah.
They kind of blur into the background.
Yeah, it's kind of like
billboards in real life.
It's kind of like the same thing with like my like the Formula 1 game that I play. Like, those games have billboard, like those cars have sponsors
on there
everywhere. You know, the track has billboards everywhere, but when you're driving, you're not paying attention to them. You're like, I need to stay on this corner or I'm going to hit that wall.
And what works well for that kind of thing is they can then have their advertisers pay them.
Yeah.
And if it's something like you were talking about where it's like, oh, I don't want to see these ads, you can then have the players also pay them to not see the ads. And so you are getting both sources of revenue. So I can see why it's appealing, but it just needs to be something that's not like game restricting or like overly like it's distracting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like my thing with it is if you want to put in ads, at least like, you know, basically if they're more subtle with the ads so that they're not the whole focus of the game, then I think that would go by a lot easier than having like a giant pop-up. And I'll say this with the Formula 1 game. So I'm playing last year's game. This year's game just came out a week and a half ago. I haven't bought it yet because I'm not paying $70 for a roster up. And it's not even a roster update because all the drivers stayed the same, like nobody left. So it's just the new cars with the new designs, and I'm not paying $70 for that.
Yeah.
But every time I fire up last year's game, instant pop-up, hey, the new game is out. And I'm like, no, go away. Like when it's $10, because like literally none of the drivers changed, none of the teams changed, literally nothing changed. The only thing is like some of the cars have slightly newer paint on them because they changed the color scheme on a couple of them, but that's it. Like, I'm not paying $70 for that. Sorry. I'll just play last year's game until they turn the servers off.
Yeah. I want to go back to the graphics thing though. I feel like a pretty good example of people being like, oh, the graphics look bad, I don't even want to get the game now, was actually Elden Ring. Because a lot of people saw that like the characters themselves aren't very high definition. That like the characters don't look like a story game would, with like the people you can see all of their eyelashes, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's like the main point on games. I think people just want graphics to be pretty.
But Elden Ring has very good backdrops. It has wonderful landscapes. And so, but people never gave it, a lot of people didn't give it the chance to have the good landscapes.
Yeah, but also too with games like Elden Ring and any Souls game, the focus is always the gameplay.
Right.
The combat mechanics. Like that is where the emphasis goes. Like sure, like even if you play, it's funny because Bloodborne, amazing game, does not run very well, but it's amazing. Like the best part is the gameplay itself. Like that part runs flawlessly. Sure, the rest of the game looks kind of janky, but the combat itself is just so refined. Like that's kind of always been the thing with Souls games where they're sure the games look kind of nice, but the main emphasis is like, oh, when you push this button and do this combo, the game is going to do what it needs to do.
Yeah. I think that's been that.
Yeah, that has been that. Holy moly, we have been on the air for quite a while. Definitely looks like we got our time in. So that about does it for today because this boy has to go to his day job.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
Womp womp. But
the
we
Lego
will.
prices.
Yes, but
And
we
video
will.
games.
But we will be back next week, more chaotic, potentially more roller coastery, and more dumpster fiery than ever before. And we do thank you all so much for joining us here today. You all have a great rest of your day. Stay safe out there. Stay hydrated. Wear sunscreen. And remember, this was a dumpster fire. You were all warned.